off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.
And welcome. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, NBC Sports Radio Station, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, Rumble, Podchaser, Spreaker, Streaker, and more. Why so many places? Because I want to maximize my splatter zone for more hope and happiness, so there's no gossip, no scandal, no K-words. Going back to the no Kardashian talk, even though that hasn't been talked about for a while. So let's just say I do not talk about the headlines because you can get it anywhere. And most of the time it is negative. If it bleeds, it leads. CNN, constantly negative news. It is meant to get you up in the morning with concern, worry, fear, piss offedness because the stories anyways for me end up making me say, what's wrong with people? Or the world is going to HE double hockey stick in a handbasket. So I don't want you doing that. I want you to wake up in the most positive way. So I've been doing this now for, Mondays are always my consecutive week change day. So it's an exciting day. It is 681 forking consecutive days. This is podcast show number 1393. And it is Monday, which is Mental Health Monday Matters. And I am so delighted that I get to tell you about how you can be happier 88% of the time. So that's every Monday. This is my special series that I wanted a show where I could just talk at you. Just kidding. Well, sort of not kidding. Every other day I have co-hosts and guests and wonderful topics that are also important. But Mondays, since it is usually the toughest day for those of you who hate your job, I want to get you to a place where you actually enjoy Mondays. I want to have breakfast with you to start with, which means that we take a bite of my gratitude sandwich. So let's start with that. Top of the bun is things we're grateful for outside of ourselves. Bottom of the bun, things that we're grateful for inside of ourselves, otherwise known as appreciation. If you are familiar with Abraham Hicks, one of my teachers, law of attraction, appreciation has a cleaner feeling to it, so that grateful sometimes puts other people down, like I'm grateful I have this, knowing that other people don't have it. So that's why we do gratitude in the morning and appreciation at night. And I'll get started. I am grateful for the plethora of amazing clothes I have in my closet. I am grateful that I had a fabulous photo shoot on the beach this weekend. I think today I'm going to put a clip together with what I've been up to with photo shoots and Alan and Juan, and it's been an amazing experience. Let's see. I've never had a publicist before, so that's kind of cool. And my third magazine cover is coming out next month. And let's see, grateful that I have a really, really good relationship with 88% of the people that are in my life. And a fantastic relationship with 100% of those that I hold close. So that's cool. I am grateful that the planets didn't crash into each other last night, and I get a another chance to have a full, however, 18 more hours to innovate, to inspire, to be inspired, to laugh, to hug, to joke around and accomplish and enjoy my life. How's that for a wrap up gratitude top of the bun? Let's go to the bottom of the bun. Actually, this is what I'd like you to do tonight before you go to bed. Instead of MS, meaningless scrolling, again, encountering those posts that are meant to get a reaction out of you and you fall for it. Instead, I want you to purposefully find some things to give yourself some love around, some self-love, self-care, self-soothing. Those are the hallmarks of good mental health, and that's why we do it. And it also helps you get a good night's sleep, which is important to your health. You are only as good as yourself. It's interesting. I taught a course at Antioch University many decades ago called Self as Instrument when I was a grad professor. I was a retired graduate professor, by the way, but came out of retirement last fall to teach at UCLA again. But I digress. I appreciate my willingness to apologize. Don't always do it. I appreciate my ability to change my mind. I appreciate my ability to say and instead of but. I appreciate my ability to keep my mouth shut. And I appreciate my ability to find the funny in just about every situation I'm in. And that's a skill that I am appreciative that I have put some hours into. I think doing stand up definitely helps polish my funny bone or strengthen my funny bone. So polish my bones. Anyways, wow, that's a Friday comment. But I'm so glad that you're here. That was breakfast. I hope you do that every single day, whether I'm here with you or not. You're here with me every weekday morning on my YouTube TV channel, which is live right now. We'll continue until 10. And if you free subscribe and give me the finger, this one, not the other one, you'll get an alert every weekday morning. So you can have breakfast with me every morning. And this is a good life habit I hope you continue to do. That way you're not tempted to do the MS scrolling, which is bad news. And then on the bottom of the bun, instead of beating yourself up at night before you go to bed, saying all the things you didn't finish and or who done you wrong, instead you are choosing to focus on those things that you did well. Give yourself a good job, mom, or add a girl, or add a boy, or just good job. And that way you can get a good night's sleep. Because frankly, my dear, if you can't approve of yourself, how the fork do you expect anybody else to approve of you? Thanks for joining me for breakfast. And now for the topic of the day that says everything is awesome. I decided to tackle a topic that I was recently interviewed for. And her name is Eugenia Gull. She will be my guest tomorrow for Tuesday Talent. And she asked me about, killing the critic, blaming or understanding the source of where all of that non-support and criticism came from, and saying talk to the hand and or burying those people who created that inner critic or inner negative talk that we have in our heads. And my response to her was, it's great to identify. However, our inner critics are way more than the person that was critical. It has formed a habit for us to gather all criticism and use that to beat ourselves up. And at some point, it transferred from that person to ourselves. And we couldn't stop the person, but we can stop ourselves with that inner critic that tells us we're not good enough, or who do you think you are? Or even as Ricky and I talked about on Friday on Straight Talk, Ricky Rebel, we talked about those BS belief systems that keep us unhappy. So I thought, you know what? That is a very good topic to continue on. We'll not. I'm never. I shouldn't say never, but it's highly unlikely, because I'm human, that I will 100% be able to live with that critic-free voice in my head. I've met one person who was a guest on the show twice, who did say that she did not have that voice. And I was skeptical, but she's done a lot of work with that voice. She's done a lot of work. And so I now believe her. Marianne Williamson, a lot of you are followers, and she's an amazing writer and speaker and global thought leader. So, something to aspire to. For me, I have to be okay with still having that voice and not beating myself up when I do have that voice. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So I am thrilled. I see eyeballs rolling in. If you have a comment or a question or an observation or a quote, I love learning myself. I love quotes. I love interacting with you. So, those of you who are not driving and tuned in on my AM FM station, please do not chat. But when you arrive, wherever you are, I would love to hear from you. All right. So that's the topic of the day. And before I forget, this is my number one best-selling national bestseller book called 8 Ways to Happiness from Wherever You Are. And it is the Asian Oprah giveaway every Mondays on my Mental Health Matters Monday. So the audiobook copy, which is worth $20, is free to you. This week, I'm going to send out to my happy zine that I keep forgetting to send out. But if you join that, you will also get an audiobook copy that maybe you can give away. So how do you get that? You go to my website, which is up here right now, and you just go and you can scroll down. There is a pop-up that comes up. If you can't wait, you can go down to the very bottom, and there is right here. Let me know. Asian Oprah giveaway. That's what you would put here under subject Monday, Mental Health Monday. And I will know that you are going to get a free promo code to get the audiobook copy of my number one bestseller. That's every Monday. So, all right, here we go. What is that voice? A lot of people call it the critic, the monkey, the chatter, the squirrel, the female dog. Let's see. I love doing a little research. What other words for inner critic? Okay, I will share that and see if you got any of the words yourself. Self-criticism, self-judgment, superego, autocritic, ego self, introspection, internal monologue, superego, self-debate, inner child, or more. All right. Yep, there's some words I cannot say. Interior critic, I haven't heard that one. Internal censor, inner censor, own worst enemy. Yep. So there's a lot. So I have yet to speak on any stage around the world and not have people identify with that voice in the head, which is always really funny. And since I do a lot of self-development speaking, 100% of the audience will raise their hand and say, I do have that internal critic. I have, my own worst enemy. I'm harder on myself than I am on anyone else. So let's see, Quora, mom, that inner critic has a voice. The funny guy voice is grandpa. The bully. Oh, there's a new one we haven't talked about. So here we go. Oh, let's go to Wikipedia. I've never looked up inner critic in Wikipedia. Critical inner voice is a concept used in pop psych to refer to a subpersonality that judges and demeans a person. Interesting. Concept in many ways, like Freudian superego, attacks a person saying they're bad, wrong, inadequate, worthless, guilty, and so on. Okay, so super well researched and documented, not the best thing to have for you, but you do have it. And all of us that I've ever spoken to seem to have that voice, coupled with the 65,000 thoughts per day we have, and 75 to 85% are negative. That's the other statistic that's out there. So this is definitely a big enough topic for us to tackle. All right. We're going to take a quick station ID. When we come back, I'll start giving you some Happy 88 tools on how to deal with that inner critic. Don't go away. We'll be back in 2 and 2. You're tuned in to KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind. And we'll be back after news, weather, and traffic, and a word from our sponsor. Don't go away. Peace in, peace out.
To the world was exploring the world. What if the question, what do you want to be when you grow up, little girl, turns into how many streets of life do you want to explore? What if the purpose of life is not to die with the most toys to leave our squabbling relatives? What if the purpose of life was to do things that we enjoy most of the time? Have relationships that we enjoy most of the time, and use our unique talents, gifts, and abilities to fully express in the dash between birth and death. What if, as a direct result of this horrible pandemic, we could rise out of the ashes with the new PPP, post-pandemic possibilities? The sooner you turn "it's impossible" to "I'm possible," the what ifs become possible too. Because you are loving, lovable, and loved, wrapped in a warm blanket of worthiness. But it may start with getting out of bed and making it. What if starts with
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.
And we're back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News Radio, home to the Asian Oprah, number one talk in the IE. Thank you very much. And streaming everywhere, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and of course, my YouTube TV channel, where if you free subscribe, give me the finger, and you will get an alert every weekday morning, and you will have access to all of my videos, not just on the playlist of the show, 1,393 strong. You will also get access to that short film that was just promoted during the break. It is called PPP Post Pandemic Possibilities. It is a short film that I came up with during COVID. Yep, making banana bread out of brown and black bruised bananas that made me a filmmaker. Got a laurel for that, and it expresses a lot of the ideas that I want to challenge you with on relooking at your life and finding a different way to be happy 88% of the time if you're not. Now, a lot of my listeners and supporters have been listening to me for a while and have been practicing. So not talking to you, talking to your friends or anyone else who has not really experienced the Happy 88 mission. Hasn't been a target of mine lately. Happy 88 mission, 88 million more happy people in the next 8 years. So that is what I'm about. That is why we do Mental Health Matters Mondays, is to the buck stops right over here. Instead of blaming and shaming, let's look at what we can do for our own happiness that involves ourselves. And certainly one of the biggest things that robs us of our unhappiness is the inner critic, which we're talking about today, balancing out the inner critic. You notice I didn't say killing the inner critic. There are people, coaches, who say, throw her out the window on the 405 and let a car run over her, lock her in the trunk, be angry, bury her or him. I am absolutely don't advocate that, because that, as we saw in the definitions before the break, the inner critic is a subpersonality. It is part of us. And so we don't want to kill a part of us. And as I mentioned when I was interviewed by Eugenia, that the flip side to that subpersonality called the critic is protector. So we owe our protector, even though we don't like what it's saying right now. If we didn't have that subpersonality critic, we would be dead, most likely run over by a car running into the street, or we'd have burnt hands from exploring the stove top. We had to have some interaction in order to protect ourselves. And so I want us to acknowledge the inner critic, that we all have that voice, that voice isn't kind to us. At the same time, hate begets hate, right? If you push against something, there's no assertion in the universe. The law of attraction is a law. Just like gravity, it works whether you believe it or not. And so when you push against something, you're just paying attention to it more. So the more you focus on something, the worse it's going to get. So if it's worse, if it's good, the more you focus on something that's good, the better it's going to get. That's the law of attraction. So that's why trying to bury your inner critic, trying to kill your inner critic and pushing against it and seeing it as negative, fully negative, is not a helpful approach, because you're still pushing against something. That's why the war on drugs doesn't work. That's why the war on obesity doesn't work. That's why war doesn't work. Bottom line, war doesn't work, because you kill someone, guess what? Excuse me. Their kids are going to see you kill them no matter what, justified or you think they should be dead. Then that continues that retaliation, revenge, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It never stops, right? So, how do you get to a place where the inner critic is not hurting you? Well, first, as I said, look at the flip side and actually get to a place where you go, oh, okay, thank you. When I was a kid, thank you for keeping me alive so I didn't run across the street. Thank you for keeping me my hands off the stove so I don't have burn marks on my hands. And I understand that you were protecting me. And it does make sense that if your mom was super critical or your father was super critical or your big brother or whoever that primary role model in your life was, if you can somehow see their criticism as well-meaning, sometimes more mean than well. And I went through this journey with my mom. Those of you who have heard me at all on stage or on the program or anywhere, I talk about my I'm one of the 7 out of 10 of us who've had childhood trauma. And I had a well-meaning, more mean than well tiger mom who called me fat, ugly, and clumsy. And in her mind, she was using negative motivation, which is very, very common in many cultures, many Asian cultures, not all, right? And it's not just Asian. There's a lot of cultures where the parents think their role is to make sure their kids are humble and they are not walking around tooting their own horn or being all that or thinking that they are all that. So that is a common thing. So it doesn't surprise me that that voice in our head begins to mimic and gather and synthesize that primary role model message of criticism that was originally meant to help us. So if now some of you say, well, no, Dr. Mercy, you can't say that because no mother should say the things that were said to you. No father should do that. Nobody. Teacher shouldn't do that. Priest shouldn't do that. They should not have done that. And okay, yep, that you have righteous indignation, you have justified anger, and is it working for you? I went decades with that justified anger, and it led me to an extremely active critic because, like I said at the beginning, what you pay attention to grows bigger. And so I got myself to the point where my whole life was being driven by that inner critic voice. Now, that voice is way more than my mom. That voice has become, my mom started that habit, but then I collected criticism everywhere I went, real or perceived, and grew my inner critic to a proportion that was bigger than me. I became a walking inner critic. I made my subpersonality my main personality. And I wasn't alone. How many people do you know that are walking around who say, I'm my own worst critic. I'm harder on myself than I am on anyone else. I'm only as good as my last success. I am complimented all the time. I wish I could receive those compliments. If I get 99 compliments and 1 criticism, my mind goes to that 1 criticism. I can't even accept the compliment. Okay, how many of people do you know? I know a lot of people. 100% of my coaching clients, my happiness, and they're successful on the outside. Professional mastery. They have awards, they have books, they have money, they have notoriety, they have all of these things like Kate Spade did, like Anthony Bourdain did, like Robin Williams did, like. All those things that we think are successful, professional mastery on the outside, on the inside, a seething ball of sadness, depression and sadness on steroids, anger, volatility, not fun, definitely not happy. Definitely not happy 88% of the time. Let's just put it that way. I don't want you to identify too much because we don't want to go too deep into that, because it's a habit. Let me say that again. If you're a seething mess of something, that's not who you are. That is a habit that you are now feeling like is outside of you, but you generated that habit. How do you create a habit? You just keep doing it. Easy, right? But most of us are walking around with these habits that we don't even believe are habits, right? You wake up, you start scrolling, you start getting involved in debates about things you cannot control. It makes you PO'd, you call people, you see slights and insults where there are none because you go to MSU University making shiitake up. You have 9 really good things happen as soon as you wake up, whether it's you have food in your fridge, you have money, you have a car, you have all these things. But what are you focused on? You're focused on how dare they say that on my post, or how dare they insulted me behind my back because you just heard about it by some friend of yours who had to tell you what someone said bad about you. In my book, that's not always a good friend. Little side tip here: when people say, "Can I tell you something?" or if I heard something that about you, would you want to know? And I'll ask first, is it positive or negative? And they'll say it's positive. I said, go ahead. And if they say it's negative, I said, thank you, I'd rather not know. If the person wants to tell me to my face what the issue is, then I will entertain it. But I want you as my friend. I don't want to kill the messenger. And frankly, it's none of my business what someone else thinks of me. So that's practice. That's a habit to replace the habit of always wondering what people are thinking about me. Even those books and things, how to make a good first impression, how to win friends and influence people. There's a downside to all of that because you're still focusing on what other people are thinking and feeling and saying about you, which is none of your business. My decision making comes from me knowing who I am and saying, is this really what I want to present? I really don't need to know necessarily, right? Common sense is uncommon, but I know if I'm going to be a smart A, I'm going to have a reputation as a smart A. If I'm going to be mean, I'm going to have a reputation of being mean. I don't need someone else to reflect back to me that you're being mean. But I'm also knowing that 88% of the time, I'm fabulous. And 12% of the time, I mess up. So I also have to understand that they may have seen me on a messed up time, and I have a decision whether I want to correct that or not. If I want that person in my life, I will go and say, I'm really sorry. That was not my best self that day. I had stuff going, but it doesn't excuse how I treated you. And let's start over. Let's start the day over. I did that with my kids when they were young. And it's one of the best tools is you don't have to ruin your entire day because you have a bad interaction in the morning. So that is how I deal with the habit of the criticism. I replace the criticism Now you know why we do the gratitude sandwich, with changing my focus to what is good about me. There's a really bad habit that a lot of Americans, I shouldn't say bad, not useful, right? It's not good or bad. Balance is it's useful or not. There's a not useful thing that we do, and we go to extremes, right? So we say, oh, we don't want to care what people think, and so we can just go and do and say whatever we want and fork you. No, that's not what I'm saying. That's why I'm all about balance. We want to balance out all of that critical stuff going on with some positive, affirming stuff, right? Now, not fake. Don't tell yourself that you are brilliant, right? When you haven't done the work to do the best that you can with the intellect that you have, or say, I am, I have a hot body when your bathing suits tell you in the morning to go work out, and you're listening to your sweatpants say, nah, you can just stay in bed. You don't need to go work out. So don't lie to yourself. That's why sometimes affirmations are more harmful than helpful. You have to believe something, but there's always something good to believe about yourself. If you got out of bed and you did something you didn't feel like doing, and you did it anyways because you knew it was good for you, taking a shower, hanging up your clothes, doing the dishes, holding the door open. If it's someone that doesn't like their door held open, then don't do that. I miss the days where in the building, our concierge used to be so good at, helping out in doors and elevators and carrying stuff. And somewhere along the line, security as well, that got lost. But do I focus on the fact that it has been, not as frequent? No, I focus on the people that still do it. Like 2 new night guys in security are super nice, and they did what I expected or hoped that they would do. And that's where I focus. That's how I get out of that inner critic that is not just criticizing me, folks. It is criticizing everyone. That's the downside of letting your inner critic drive your life car, because the inner critic sees wrong and bad and what's missing everywhere, not just with yourself, but with everybody around you. And when I come back from break, I am going to talk about the 88% bar, which is a tool that I haven't talked about in a while that hopefully will help you balance your inner critic. Don't go away. I will be right back after news, weather, and traffic here on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and of course, my YouTube TV channel. Free subscribe. Give me the finger. Don't go away. We'll be right back. We'll be right back in 2 and 2. Peace and peace out.
Well, she has been dubbed the Asian Oprah, and she just wants all of us to be happy.
Dr. Marissa, aka the Asian Oprah, says the most important thing you can choose is choosing to be happy.
You are tuned into my weekly talk radio TV show called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa.
That's the idea for Dr. Marissa Pei's new book called 8 Ways to Be Happy.
Many of us say, I am my own worst critic. Nobody's harder on me than I am.
And my response to that is, stop it. Why are you doing that to yourself? You have to be your biggest fan, because if you can't at the end of the day say, I did a good job, who is? We don't have to constantly be angry at the things that are wrong. Why don't we choose to be happy about things that are right? We have the choice. That's our muscle. And life is so amazing if we can see it.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.
And welcome back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, NBC News Radio, home to the Asian Oprah and number one talk in the IE. Thank you very much. And streaming everywhere, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and of course, my YouTube TV channel. Please free subscribe live every morning at 9. Give me the finger, this one, not the other one. And I'm so glad that you're here. I see eyeballs in the studio. Welcome. This is Monday, Mental Health Matters Mondays, and we are talking about balancing out your inner critic, that voice that keeps you from feeling good, because every time something good happens, you have a voice that says, yeah, but that other shoe's going to drop. Or if you get a compliment, well, that's because they don't know you that well. When they find you, find out who you really are, they're not going to be so nice. All of that chatter that keeps us really unhappy and threatens to drive our life car over the cliff. And that's what we do not want to do. I told you when we went on break that I would give you this happy 88 tool called the 88% mark on a race. So, or on a job or on a project. This is 0. This is 100%. If you are listening to this show, chances are you're an overachiever. Chances are you're a perfectionist. Chances are you want more out of your life than you're getting. All right. And see if this sounds familiar. We tackle a project and we get to 88% mark, right? We go. We're really great project starters. We've, make things happen. Let's get it done. We get to the 88% mark. And there's two sides we can choose to look at. We can look at, and this is the most common, we look at the finish line and focus on the 12% that's still not done. Now, nothing wrong with that. However, what is the feeling tone that comes with incomplete? When you see something that's incomplete, yeah, that's exactly what happens. When you see something that's incomplete, you have a tendency to want to push, right? Strive. Let's keep going. Just, gospel according to Nike, just do it. Let's go. We got to finish that. And someone will say, well, are we, let's affirm what we have done. And you're like, no, I'll celebrate when I get to the goal. We're not celebrating until we get there. Let's push. We got to get the quota, got to get the numbers, got to get blah, 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 right? So you get to the 100. Do you celebrate? Do you say, oh, yay, look what we've done? No, we're on to the next project, strategy, goal, whatever that is, objective that is laid out in our oh gosh, I just had a brain slow down here, in our performance goals, right? So you're 88% there. You're not going to celebrate to 100. But if you're an overachiever and you get to the 100, let's say you complete that goal, do you stand at that 100% mark and go, woohoo, we did it, team, let's go celebrate, pat on the back, I really appreciate your role in this project and my role? Do you do that? No, you're off back to zero on a different project and go, 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 go. And you get to that 88% mark again. And then you're focused on what's not done. And so you're not feeling really happy because you're not done yet. And this goes on for the rest of your life. And no wonder you're exhausted. No wonder you're unhappy. No wonder you're overly critical of yourself and others. No wonder you're miserable. That's you, boo. That's your choice, because at that 88% mark, you don't have to look that way. You can look the other way. You can look at that 88%. You can stand on that 88% mark, turn and look at what all that has been done, all that has been accomplished, all that has gone useful and correctly. Because a lot of it has. You wouldn't be at 88% without that. Our bodies are like that. Our face is like that. Our clothes are like that. Our money is like that. Our car is like that. Our house is like that. You can't be 100% happy with anything, including yourself, because you'd be dead. There's no contrast when it's 100%. But 88%, you have a choice to focus on that 12% and blow it up into 100%. Or you can choose to look at the 88% as, wow, that is so cool. I've done that much. Because your mate is not going to be 100%. Your significant other is not 100%. Nothing is 100% because we're human beings. Therefore, wouldn't it be happier if I focused on the 88% that was or is than the 12% that isn't? The 12% that isn't comes with a feeling of dissatisfaction, comes with a feeling of angst, comes with a feeling of pushing, comes with a feeling of dis-ease. It's a disease. It's dis-ease. I'm not at ease with where I am. And you do that to yourself by choosing to focus on what's not done, what's not right, what's not good. And folks, that's what the world is focused on in the news, on your social media, everywhere you turn. So you got to use your own muscle of choice, which is the most powerful tool you have, to not look there, not tune in there, not listen there. It is your job to go, I'm not gonna worry so much about that I cannot control, but I'm going to use my focus to turn at the 88% that I have been able to accomplish, that I do know is helpful, that I do know is useful, that I do know makes me smile and makes me appreciate myself first and then others around me. I'm going to focus there. And that is your choice. It's not the C word you want to avoid. It's the ch word that you want to embrace, because you have the choice in every single forking moment to either pull this thing up and find something to argue with or not. You have the choice to focus on someone who's doing something stupid or not. You can focus on someone else who's doing something great. You can focus on a part of you that you like versus always beating yourself up about something that you don't like. It's a habit that we all have fallen asleep and victim to our own choices. No one puts a gun to our head to scroll. No one, right? No one puts a gun to our head to turn the news on and listen to some producer's take on a piece of news. No one gives you that gun. You put that gun to your own head by your choices. And that is why Today, balancing that inner critic is your main work if you want to be happy. Let me say that again. Balancing out your internal critics. Nobody else's internal critic is your internal critic. You want to let your internal critic drive your life car over a cliff? Are you letting your sub-personality of the inner critic be your dominant personality? Be you who you are? Oh, but Dr. Marissa, I've had a really tough life. I'm sorry. I really am. I get that. It's hard to grab yourself by the neck when you feel like you've got all these things in your way and you're a bird in a cage and there's bars all over the place and you can't get out and you think that you're doomed for the rest of your life because you had a horrible start or non-supportive role models and you had crappy stuff done to you. I get that. I lived and looked through those what do they call bars in the cage a lot of my life, not all of it, not even half of it anymore, but a lot of it. And it was my choice, nobody else's. It was my choice to finally grab myself by the neck. Now, I had people who helped me see. They couldn't do it for me, but they helped me see, right? My big brother, Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith, and then all of the other teachers in my life who and surrogate mothers who saw me in a way that I didn't see myself. Okay. That kind of support, but they couldn't grab me by the neck and pull me up. I had to do that. I had to make the decision to change the habit of blaming and shaming in a nutshell. So if you pull yourself up by the scruff of your neck gently and go to 88,000 feet, and look down at you and your life, you will see that behind you, you're the beautiful bird. My middle name in Chinese is Nian Feng, learned phoenix. You will see that through the fire or in that cage, when you look, there's nothing behind you. There's no bars behind you, but you have this habit of looking at the world through these bars, and only you can turn around. Only you. It's a decision. It's not easy. It's not a light switch. It's a daily discipline. It's a habit to create, to replace the habit you now have. Esther Hicks calls it lazy focusing, right? If you have a lazy focuser, then yeah, you're going to be you're led by the nose to lead a mediocre life, right? My big brother, Michael Bernard Beckwith, calls media a weapon of mass distraction. Love that. And that we don't have ADD, we have IDD. Intention deficit disorder, because we don't believe or act in a way that says, I am the boss of me. I can create new habits in my life. I can change some BS, call the belief systems that are keeping me listening to a sub personality, making that personality a full on powerful thing in my life that it will never let me rest in peace or appreciate who I am, the good that I am, and the good that I have. So I am hoping today, what is today? It's sometime in May, or are we in June? Who knows? It doesn't matter. All that matters is I want you today, whatever day it is, whenever you're listening to this and watching this, to decide that I'm going to change my habits. The first habit I'd like you to change is when you wake up, please do not pick this up. For graduate school people, you can plug this in another room. The first thing I want you to do when you wake up is sit up in bed or lay, if you know you're not going to fall back asleep, and just put a timer on for 2 minutes of breathing. That's it. Start with 2 minutes. You're just going to focus on your breathing in and out through your mouth. In and out. The timer will go off at 2 minutes. Next day, do 3 minutes. See if you work up to 15 minutes. If your head goes crazy, that's okay. It's a habit. It will grow on you. And then have breakfast with me. Take a bite of my gratitude sandwich. Do it on your own. What are 3 things that you're grateful for? I do 8. I'm an overachiever. Dr. Wayne Dyer said 5. 8's a lucky number in Chinese. Fa is a homophone for good fortune. I start the show. We try to do 8 gratitudes. And then tonight when you go to bed, 8 appreciations. What do you like about yourself? Be easy. Be easy on yourself. What can you start to cultivate as a habit of seeing yourself through your best eyes and quipping your worst enemy? Be your best supporter. That's my final word. I'm laughing because the sound engineers and a lot of the people at my KCAA family, my NBC News Radio family, they're like, Dr. Marissa is the only host who really doesn't need a guest. But I hope that something in which that I said today will help you be happier. That's what I'm here for. My Happy 88 mission, 88 million more happy people in the next 8 years. Today, if you are here in studio with me, thank you very much. I don't see any comments yet, but you get a free audiobook, $20 value because you were here. Asian Oprah giveaway. Just go to my website, which is on there, drmarissa.life. Tell me that you free subscribe for YouTube and that you would like this audiobook. It's a self-help on steroids. The questions and the answers are there because I know how I made choices to keep myself unhappy. And now I know choices that I'm making to keep myself happy 88% of the time. Thank you so much for joining me. Tomorrow in studio live will be my hashtag Tuesday Talent. Eugenia Gull. She was the interviewer when I was in the hot seat last week or 2 weeks ago. And you can get that interview. There's a link in my social media for that. It was a great interview and we talked about things like this. She is well-known. She's an influencer. She does red carpet, multi-hyphenate. So you'll have to come see us interact again tomorrow on the show. Wednesday, Doctors in the House with Dr. Tiffany Tate. Thursday, Throwback Thursday. Friday, Straight Talk with James Hawthorne. So keep it here all week. Thanks for joining me. Remember, it's all about balance. Peace in, peace out. World peace through inner peace. Now go and have the best day ever. I'll see you tomorrow.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.